Welcome back, pod people. Today is a special Valentine's Day episode of Invasion of the Pod People, and I have the most guests I've ever had on yet. I have John Piekos, who is the director of photography of the film that we're going to be talking about today, which is Valentine Bluffs, a fan-made sequel to the 1981 classic My Bloody Valentine. I also have Darren Pastor, the special effects guy, and Chuck Ryan, who portrayed the miner and Axel, and was a producer for the film. So, fellas, you're in a really unique and sort of uncommon position here in that you're making a fan sequel to a film that's, a well-beloved classic that, as far as I'm aware, there's no continuity of production crew or anything from the original. It's entirely just fans. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a film that's a tribute to the original movie. We have a few celebrities that were tied to it. Unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, we weren't able to get any of the original cast to be part of our film. But this is a fan-made film by the fans, for the fans, for our love of My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, I've seen this kind of thing before on YouTube, where somebody makes like a Friday the 13th fan film, but those are usually like 8 minutes long, or maybe at most 40, 45, whereas this is a full-on hour-and-a-half long feature-length film. So of you three and anyone else on the crew, how many of you guys were experienced filmmakers, professionals in the industry? How many of you, this was your first time and you just, really had the passion to want to make this specific movie?
For me, this was my first time. First film I've ever been involved in, everything. I was very wet behind the ears. But fortunately, I had a lot of great people surrounding me. Tom brought me into this project initially, and I was just super grateful to even be a part of this. And then, started meeting additional crew that came on board, John and Darren included. And, Tom put together a great team. We have a great crew. And, so yeah, this was my first time. It was a crash course in filmmaking 101 for me, and everybody just kind of made me feel real at home. And I had to learn a lot of producing aspects on the fly as I went on this. So it was a real cool ride for me. Let the other guys chime in here.
Darren, you want to go, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, no, I'll go. So yeah, I've worked on a few films before. Tom and I we worked on a few projects together. But prior to working in film, I spent a long time working in the haunt industry. Working in haunted houses and building things for that. I did a lot of things for resorts. They'd have these big theatrical shows. I used to be able to get to make big set pieces and things. So for me, and to be a part of it was great because, Tom and I were talking about this. We were on another project together, and it was just getting ready to end. And he started mentioning about doing this. And I said, I love the original, and when he mentioned to me about Chuck, I said, I'm in. Just let me know where I got to be, But it was a lot of fun to do. And I also was able to get my band got to do some the music in the movie, which is a nice surprise. That was fun to do as well.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask about that later on because both this movie and the original, and John, I'll let you chime in just a moment, but I just wanted to bounce off of what Darren was saying there. Both this movie and the original feature a original closing song at the end of the film during the credits, and I liked how you did that, just a little bit, like 2 seconds of the original song before cutting to the new piece. So that was your band playing?
Yeah, that was my band, Pocono Posse. In fact, when Tom told me early on how he wanted to do it, he said he was going to play, there's copyright issues. You really can't play someone else's music. But so I knew we were going to hear a couple seconds of it. So I actually, when the band started sitting down to write it, we actually wrote it in the same key as the original song, so that
nice.
it would kind of merge together,
Great
I
song.
I don't have a strong enough ear for music to be able to tell that kind of thing, but but that's cool. So, John, tell us a bit about your background in film and how you came to be involved in this project.
Well, I worked on a bunch of shorts previously with a bunch of different people. I was aware of Tom. I knew he was a special effects artist, probably one of the best on the East Coast. His name would always come up, like, if you ever do anything, you need a special effects artist, you got to talk to this guy, So I reached out to him on a project I was working on at the time, and he made some props for us that came out very, very well. And, I saw that he loved horror. I saw that he took an interest in doing things the right way, and I always wanted to work with him as a DP, but he had his, he had his guy and he had his tight crew. And as years went on, people went their own ways. So when he contacted me and he's like, look, I'm doing this film. I got Chuck, he's a cosplayer. He's got the miner costume. He's amazing. And he just started giving me the list. And I'm like, dude, it's COVID. This is not something I really want to go and do. I appreciate the offer. And then he actually started telling me what happened to him personally with COVID. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I got to work with this guy. I've known him my whole life. I know he does quality projects. He works with quality actors, quality people. It would be such a misstep on my part to not team up with these guys. And he mentioned about going in a mine, and I'm like, that's it, dude. I'm there. Let's go. Can we start now? And after the pre-production meetings that we all sat in and we talked about how we were going to do what we were going to do, I realized that this was definitely a feature that needed to be made. It's definitely it's my first feature, which I'm glad that I waited this long for this to be my first, brushing up on the shorts. This had more of a budget, definitely more professional actors, definitely more of a professional approach. And to do it with these guys was an absolute blessing.
All right.
Yeah, same. I agree.
Nice. It's good to hear. Continuing on the subject of semi-professional, combination of professional and amateur contributors to the project, I noticed that the mayor is portrayed by Lloyd Kaufman of Troma fame, and I'm curious if any of you are familiar with his books and how he became involved in that. For the listeners, I'm holding up Lloyd Kaufman's book, Make Your Own Damn Movie, which certainly I have found personally inspiring, and having just read his books and then seeing him show up in this fan film like this, that is, to my knowledge, Troma Production is not involved in it in any way. How did all that come about?
To my knowledge, one of the actors in our film, mine's going like now.
I think it was Courtney, right?
Courtney, yeah, thank you, John.
Yeah.
She played the news reporter. I believe she is a direct relation to Lloyd Kaufman. I believe she's his goddaughter. Anyway, we kind of made contact with Lloyd through her, and he seemed interested, and I think Tom Smith, our director, got to have some discussion with Lloyd, and that's kind of how that came out to be. And I think Tom initially had a good idea of what character he wanted Lloyd to play. He's just got that his all his quirkiness was a really good fit for the role of the mayor, who was a weaselly and a slime bag, just looking to exploit the town and use people to make money. So think he fit that role very well. Added some comedic element to it, and a character that you look at when you watch scenes that he's in. It's like, oh man, I hope that guy gets it, So yeah, it was an honor to work with him, and it was real easy to work with him. We had him on set, I think just for a day, I believe, and yeah, it was real easy to work with.
It was fun. Had me laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
The greatest thing about Lloyd was, as Chuck has said, he really was sleazebag on film. But as soon as the cameras were off, you would interact with the guy. I got to tell you, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would meet a star of his caliber and be such a gentleman. I mean, he went out of his way to make you comfortable. And, that says a lot for somebody who has as many credits and prestige as Lloyd does. So I'll never forget that. And Lloyd, if you watch this or hear this, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the great experience. I got to help kill Lloyd.
Right?
Yeah, with the piece of rebar in the neck. Yeah. Man, well, I could ask you questions about the production all day, and we'll get back to that in a moment. But let's take a bit to talk about the story now and the characters. One thing that you just mentioned that got my brain worrying on this is talking about how the sleazebag mayor is someone that you really want to see dead. And yeah, that's something that I find to be really important in horror films, is that you need to have strong opinions about the characters. You want the audience to either love the characters or hate the characters. So in either case, we care what happens to them. So I'm curious, how did you try to get the audience to really feel things for the different characters in the film?
Well, I think that was a testament to Tom Smith's writing abilities, and really knew how to tell the story. The first time I read the script through and through, I was really stunned. I was blown away. I said, this is an excellent script. And there were a lot of things in there that I just didn't see coming as a fan in a story. And I said, wow, this is fantastic. This is going to be great. And so I think a lot of it comes to Tom's writing, but also the amazing cast that we had too, that was able to portray that and get the audience to feel a certain way about them. And I think they did a really fine job in getting people to either like their characters and feel something towards them or despise their characters. So
yeah, and the conversations felt believable. Like you felt like they really, even a little banter and stuff in the bar and going back and forth. It felt believable.
I liked the touch of those two Jay and Silent Bob-esque kids outside of the bar, just leaning against the wall, shooting shit, talking about horror movies with each other.
Yeah.
One of those kids was Tom Smith's son, Shane, who did a great job. And then the other actor was Nikolai Cabana. They pulled that scene off wonderfully.
They were funny.
And I think Tom really went out of his way for like the first 25 minutes of the movie to basically just touch, hey, the minors in the movie, but we're going to spend some time for you to get to know these characters, appreciate them, hate them, at least learn a little bit about them before we start picking them off one at a time, So that's about how you do it in the 80s,
Yeah.
And I thought too, the way, whatever, I don't know anything about filming like John does, but whatever you did, it just felt like you were in that world. Like it just, you know what I mean? It wasn't like you were, I don't know. When they talk about Halloween, when they're talking about how the original Halloween, how it feels like, like you're in that town and it's October, I just felt watching this, I got the same feeling I did when I watched the original. There was a certain color to it or a certain feeling, and I felt it. That's what I thought when I saw it.
Cool. I think a lot of that has to do with John also, who edited the film. He pieced things together beautifully, and it really shows. He was able to capture that that feeling, that essence, that look. And we're very grateful to him as well.
I am too. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys. I do want to point
Yeah.
out one cool thing since all three of us are here. We contributed to one of the coolest shots in the movie, if you guys remember, where we couldn't get a tracking shot to work properly with the dolly. So I think, Darren, you came up with the idea, let's get this long 2x4. We'll prop the camera up on the middle.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
Darren's
Yeah,
on one
in
end,
the
Chuck's
mine
on
scene.
the other. The camera's in
Right.
the middle as the actors walked across. And we were able to sidestep these wood slats that you'll see Penelope and Roland, like as they're entering the Miners Museum. And without these guys, without Darren's knowledge, without Chuck helping out on the other end, I mean, I think we pulled the shot off really good and kept it
Oh
steady.
yeah.
Oh, it looked good. It looked very
Yeah.
good.
And I especially watching it on the big screen when when you did the premiere, it looked level. Like there was none of this.
Yeah, it's very hard to sidestep with a camera that size at that angle, further away to capture everything. And without you guys, man, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So thanks a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember we had to have almost the perfect pace with one another, and then make sure that that was tricky.
Yeah,
but
it was 5 people in unison, the actors and the 3 guys up, working, moving the camera. That was pretty amazing.
I think towards the end, because I ran out of space, I had my fingertips on the board, knowing that there's a very
don't tell me that.
I know.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
I had the hand ready to catch it, but
yeah.
What kind of camera was this, out of curiosity?
We shot the film with Sony fill frame sensors. Wanted to go for the mine. We used the Sony A7S3, which has very low light sensitivity because we knew we were going to be shooting in dark. Conversely, everything else was shot with my Sony FX3. Same thing, full frame, same sensor, just a different body and more user friendly. If you were going to let it run all day, it had a fan so it wouldn't overheat, things like that. But that was one of Tom's requirements. He said, look, I want to make sure that this film looks like it was shot on the same camera, not multiple cameras, so let's get the look to look evenly throughout, so yep.
Makes the color grading and everything a lot easier at the end. Cool. Sorry. Darren, were you about to say something?
No, I was saying I didn't notice if that was all with different cameras. I didn't notice, the final.
Yeah, we used 2 A7S 3s for the mine, and then we used the FX3 for everything else. Basically, same sensor and both cameras.
Cool. Yeah, so you talked a little bit about the setting, Valentine Bluffs, which is also the name of the film. And yeah, one of the things that I love the most about the original My Bloody Valentine is what a strong sense of place you get there. That Valentine Bluffs is another character in the movie. You guys have got the mine, of course. You've got the iconic dance hall where the party is held. And then other than that, people's houses and stuff are a bit, it's different houses. Tell us a bit about the setting, what you really wanted to make sure that you captured from the original about it. And another thing that is really interesting to me about the setting is that in both the original and then especially in the sequel, the passage of time is really important, and how things have changed over the decades with Harry Warden's original murders happening decades before the events of the first film, and then decades after the events of the first film when your movie takes place. So how does the town how did the town deliberately change over that time?
Yeah, well, our film takes place 40 years later, 40 years after the original My Bloody Valentine movie, and it's as time passes, there's certain people that I say most of the town still remembers the tragedy that had happened, but then there's a few elements such as the mayor that are choosing to ignore those things and exploit those horrific murders.
Yeah, I would
And
say that the mayor was ignoring that. I think the mayor was paying quite a lot of attention to it and had dollar signs in his eyes. Um,
right. I guess, I mean, if I could rephrase, meaning choosing to ignore that there's anything wrong with, there's no threat out there. It's everything's fine. Let's just all go about our business and let him do his slimy deal to
Yeah.
profit off of it. But yeah, there's the town has been hurting, the mine has been closed, and just the economy stinks, and that's not what the town doesn't need that right now. It doesn't need to dredge up those old memories. They're trying to get on with their lives, and there's some people that are characters that are relatives of some of the previous victims from 40 years ago, and TJ has been kind of run out of town, and is living his life separately, and everybody just kind of has this mutual understanding. The sheriff is struggling with PTSD in having to deal with those memories of Sylvia, his girlfriend, being killed, and
yeah.
and the deputy is the nephew of Mabel Osborne, who owned the laundromat in the original. So we definitely wanted to have a few characters tied in there to the original.
Yeah. I was reminded of how the modern Halloween movies are treating the town of Haddonfield, and that honestly, the way that you guys presented the evolution of the town seemed a lot more realistic than the way that the new Halloween movies have presented the evolution of their town, where there was like a series of murders, and now the entire town is completely obsessed with it and has been for 40 years. Whereas in your thing, it seemed like people had done their natural grieving and didn't want to think about it anymore and didn't like having it be dredged up. And uh, and then somebody trying to exploit it in a way that, I mean, does seem fairly plausible, because it's this such a visually distinctive and unusual set of murders happening with the mine and everything. So I thought that was an interesting comparison that was going on in my mind, and I'm curious if you guys, if the new Halloween movies were in your mind during the production at all, or if that's just a coincidence.
Yeah, might have been a coincidence. I think I'm not sure. What I would say though, like in reality, I think more people would be less apt to celebrate all the murders and be more apt to, like, hey, let's put it away. Let's not think about it. It's a horrible memory,
Yeah.
So I think people can relate to that a little bit more. And then, even though Halloween is a great franchise, I think you're watching it. It's hard to believe that people would be that happy about it. I guess, right? I guess, does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, these guys are blue collar workers. They're just trying to get through day by day. Like we would deal with COVID every day. These guys have to deal with the legend every day. So some people will embrace it, other people will be disgusted by it, and other people will exploit it. It's the same thing that's going on right now.
Yeah. Well, and with the mine being closed down, the mayor doesn't seem to be too interested in helping the townsfolk, like either by, I don't know if he has the ability to reopen the mine or just help the towns people out. So he's got just these selfish reasons, and doesn't seem to be working for anybody.
Yeah, that was one thing that I thought was kind of curious. It seemed to me like there was a cave-in at the end of the original, and so I had assumed that the mine was closed because it was like no longer safe. And so it was interesting, that sort of dichotomy there, where this from my perspective, from my interpretation of it, at least, this sort of sleazy mayor, who's clearly trying to make a buck for himself, is also like taking the relatively responsible position of closing down this unsafe mine, and then is trying to generate new economic activity in the town with the idea of opening the museum. But of course, it's economic activity that will disproportionately benefit him. But still, like I found his character a little bit more complex than being just sort of a one-note greedy scumbag. And I found it sort of tragic listening to the other people in that town hall meeting where they were saying, "Hey, fuck this museum, but also we need jobs." And I was going, "Oh man, the museum is the only source of jobs that I've heard anybody talk about that like actually might exist, because the mine's not going to."
Yeah.
Oh, a tragedy for all the folks involved.
Right.
In the bar scene, there's a bit where people are watching television, and it looks like there's two advertisements. One for they don't show like a title or anything, but the impression I got was like a fake Friday the 13th versus Halloween film. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
That was actually a clip from the movie Roseblood, which is Friday the 13th fan film. I think released a few years ago.
Okay.
By Peter Anthony, and so that's a footage from his film that we inserted in there, and I think it's pretty neat. Gets people talking a little bit.
I just looked this up, and it's another feature-length fan film available on YouTube. I did not know this existed.
Yeah, it was nice too, because it was kind of this subtle statement to the community, like hey, fan films unite. That we can come together and work together and just we're all one big family. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, everybody's got to do what they can at this level to help each other. And what better way to, grab somebody else's film that would be more than happy to put it in. And, I think we have, Tom has friends that worked on that film. So to put that in there and make it part of our universe, how cool would it be if somebody did that with Valentine Bluffs? Hint, hint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I really like that attitude that you've got there, and I think it's a clever thing to do. That's immediately followed by an advertisement for nightmaretoys.com, which I went to. It is a real website with it's a real toy store.
It's a cool store, yeah.
Was that like paid product placement, or?
Well, Nightmare Toys was one of our sponsors for the film, and we needed another commercial for that scene, and we got to talking with them, and they have an amazing crew that makes professional videos for them, and we're talking with Nightmare Christie and Phil about it, and they came up with this this really neat commercial that I think adds some comedy, but it's very entertaining. It works. It makes you laugh, and it seems very authentic. Like it's a real
place too,
and it exists in real life.
Yeah, that's I always like fake media inside of media like that, because it does so much world building in such a small amount of screen time, by establishing more out the sort of things that exist in this world. So that was really cool. I'm glad to get the stories behind both of those things, because they really jumped out at me as being like, wait a second, these look like they
I was gonna say, John, was that tricky to do, when knowing in advance that was going to be, those commercials were going to be superimposed over on the television screens? Or
well, I didn't know the length. I didn't know what the commercial actually was going to be, but I left myself enough leeway to actually incorporate that into the movie. You know, the trick is here, you absolutely want to bring attention to these people that support the film, or people we want to support in our universe, but you want to do it in a way where it doesn't look so blatant. You know, it actually does feel like it's part of the movie, but yet at the same time, it makes you want to go, well, then maybe that might be real. I should look it up, you know? So, I mean, that actually kind of worked, you know, it works out for everybody. So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly the reaction I had. The first time I watched it, because like I said, I've seen it twice now. The first time I watched Valentine Bluffs, and it did the Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees brief bit. I was like, wow, did they really record like however many shots that was with those costumes and everything for this like 30-second joke? That's amazing.
That's actually that was one of my buddies in the Michael Myers costume. It was played by Brent Edgett, who is a cosplay friend of mine, and so you see him on screen there, as well as Jason Brooks in the Jason Voorhees costume. And yeah, it's a great Friday the 13th fan film. It was pretty cool to, you know, to have that placed in a film. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I've looked it up on YouTube now and have saved it to watch later. So that's definitely I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah.
So what's next? You've just completed this several years long project of making this feature film. What do you want to do next? Do you have anything in production?
well, I think Tom's working on an anthology like horror movie that he's going to probably fund. I don't know if he's going to go through the crowdfunding route. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're going to get started on that. I know he actually went and looked at locations already. So, you know, we're going to constantly keep working, you know, promote this film with podcasts and social media, and move on to the next project, and hopefully get better and better and expand our team, and, you know, continue to work with the guys that brought us here. You know, we appreciate everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I don't have anything coming up right now, but if the opportunity presented itself, I mean, I would definitely be more than happy to work with any of these guys again on a Tom Smith production. Very easygoing and just a lot of mutual respect. You know, sometimes we all don't agree on certain things. I mean, that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, you know, there's no egos, and it's just a lot of professionalism and respect, and so it makes it that's what makes it fun and pretty easy.
Good. I'm glad to hear this was such a positive experience. Darren, how about you?
I have several things I'm working on actually with Tom, kind of on the side, not necessarily movie related. And then with my band, Pocono Posse, we have, with the summer coming up, we have some events that we're going to start to do. So I'll be concentrating on that. And, you know, and with my wife and I'm always making something. If I'm not working on something with these guys or my band, I'm in my shop with my wife and we're making monsters or something. We're always doing something.
Cool.
Always have fun, you know. If you're not having fun, why do it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you tell about a particularly fun monster to work on?
I'm not sure if I could. I know we just finished making this one monster. It's a full body suit. I don't know if we could talk about it. I know. Well, I know the name is called the Boog, Boog.
Oh, all right.
And Tom and I and Roland, who's not with us at the moment, we worked on the full body suit. And I think if you look online, you can see stuff about it. I don't want to give away too much because I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but that was the last thing that Tom and I worked on. And yeah, we're just like John said, there's an anthology that Tom's going to want to start putting together, and we're going to contribute into that, and hopefully that turns into something that we can get some more some more films out of.
Cool. Yeah, I love anthology stuff. So I'm curious to hear more about that once it becomes available. Uh, so the last question that I like to leave off with is I ask about where you see the future of independent film going. And I think this is a particularly interesting one for you guys because since most of you haven't been like involved in the film industry for decades or anything like that, like some of the people that I interview, but instead you're only able to do this because of how the film industry has changed. Like I'm willing to bet that this undertaking would have been prohibitively expensive if you had to make it in 1982 and have had to pay for all of the physical film that you would have needed in order to shoot it, which used to be incredibly expensive. That would have added hundreds of thousands of dollars to your production costs on its own, not to mention post-production being more difficult. So I'm curious if you can talk about your perception of the change of like independent filmmaking like this, why you guys made this movie when you did, as opposed to like 10 years earlier or 10 years from now, and how you see that sort of thing changing in the future and changing what you can or want to do.
I guess I'll start. I think the way things are going right now with the way these new materials that are coming out, new editing programs, just the fact the internet is out. If you don't know how to do something, you can just Google it. And, you know what I mean? It sets the bar much higher. So when we see independent films like on this film, I mean, there was a lot of people that most of us work for free for the entire, and you have to because most of the money had to go into the production. But, you know, I think with the advent of things like 3D printers, things that would take a long time to try to physically make, it's obtainable or within reach, you know. And I think the quality and the level of the work coming out, if something's bad, people are going to let you know right away, you know. So
Wow.
I think as soon as you put something out, if people like it, they're going to tell you they like it or not. They're going to rip it apart. So it kind of gauges where to go, and that kind of talk also shows which kind of movies we're going to start making. You know,
That's fascinating. Both of those factors are like, well, I've heard people talk a little bit about the expectations for film, but usually in the other direction when I've asked them this question. But you are definitely the first person to mention 3D printers, which is fascinating. People have talked about how computer effects have gotten much cheaper, and like practical effects being widely disseminated through tutorials on the internet, like you mentioned, but nobody's ever brought up 3D printers before.
but yeah, if we needed some of the things Tom and I would be working on, if we need to make like a really large creature, before we would have to sit and sculpt it out, take a body cast of somebody and sculpt and everything on it. If our budget allows, we can actually send out styrofoam basically to get CNC milled into a rough shape, and then we're only adding a thin skin of clay and sculpting that into something versus spending weeks trying to build up a big form. We can have someone rough it out for us, and it could be extremely detailed because everything is computer controlled now, you know. And
Yeah.
so it makes things easier. And then especially with our group, having people that know, like John understands when we put something on someone's face here, if we don't blend the edges good, he can see it when he's filming it, you know. So we know that certain lighting and things he can tell us to do, you know, it's just all just learning and growing as you're doing it, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think the future of independent films is just going to keep growing and becoming more popular. I think touch on what Darren said with the technology at our fingertips. I mean, there's heard people making movies with just using their iPhone, and so it just, I think it's going to keep growing and growing. Sometimes people just don't want to wait necessarily for these bigger studios to come out with another film or movie, as in My Bloody Valentine. And as far as the timing with that, you probably ask Tom about it, but I know he's had that idea to do the sequel for My Bloody Valentine for quite a while. And I think finally he was just saying it's ready to do it now. And, but yeah, it's, you're seeing all kinds of fan films a lot, and a lot of them happen with the help of crowdfunding, which also seems to be growing. It's just very commonplace now. And I think, the success of our film is totally related to that, having other supportive fans that want to see this happen. They're willing to, donate to our project to see it come to life. And, there's a lot of trust in that as well. And, giving over your hard-earned money to a project. And, we try to patronize other fan films as well, ourselves being fans. And I think you're going to see just a lot more independent films that people want to see. People want to make movies, and the technology's kind of at your fingertips, and I think it's going to be great. I think it puts pressure on these other studios, and probably makes them nervous seeing some of the the quality of some of the projects that have been coming out from indie filmmakers.
Yeah. Thinking about specifically fan films as opposed to independent films more broadly, is that why this movie's on YouTube instead of on platforms like Tubi? I would expect that's where I normally go for independent films, is Tubi, honestly. But is that like a copyright thing?
I think YouTube was kind of our plan all along.
Okay.
That would be more of probably a Tom Smith question to answer.
Well, I hope I can get him on here and do a Valentine Bluffs interview part 2.
Yeah, he can answer all the questions that Chuck Ryan doesn't know.
Also, wasn't it the YouTube version is a 2K version? Tom said we couldn't upload the 4K.
Oh,
Something like that.
Yeah, it was having some difficulty, I think, with the 4K version. For some reason, it was getting
flagged.
Yeah,
in the 4K version versus the 2K.
huh.
Right. But the 2K looks pretty solid.
Oh yeah,
pretty good.
Yep.
I still watch things at 1080p.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, touching on the technology aspect of how things have grown, we would not be able to do this maybe 10 years ago, all sit in front of a computer and talk about the movie that you just saw on your computer that we can share with a link. You can finish something relatively quick, edit it relatively quick, and get it out there relatively quick. And as an independent filmmaker, if you're not looking for distribution or other avenues of revenue, you could be your own boss, and the technology just gets better every day. It gets easier. But I will say this, as easy as it gets, you do need to know the rules. You need to understand the basics that have been since the beginning of filmmaking, with film, lenses, acting, blocking, script writing. It all starts with the script, and it all ends in post. But you'll tend to see independent filmmakers say, and this is something we did not do on set, we'll fix it in post. Because you're right, you can just continue to keep shooting. There's no penalty. It's just time,
All right. Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you all for coming on and talking and sharing this fascinating story of how this really quite monumental project for some fans to put together all came to be, and you ended up with this great result that is available to watch for free on YouTube. Valentine Bluffs, a My Bloody Valentine fan film, full movie 2023 2K version, to use the full title that it is listed as. Is there anywhere else that you would like to direct people to, follow you? Do you use social media or anything like that that you'd like people to check out?
Yeah, people go watch the film. It's the YouTube channel it's on is called Wheeze in Hollywood. If they would watch the movie, of course, and click that like button and subscribe, that would be awesome. The Wheeze in Hollywood is Tom Smith's film production company, and anybody wants to follow my cosplay escapades, they can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Chuck Ryan Cosplay. And I will be at a few different horror conventions this year, promoting Valentine Bluffs. So if people check out our social media, the Valentine Bluffs fan film on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, we'll have updates on there as well as to where we're going to be if they want to come check us out.
Yeah, I'm Darren Pastor on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm not on very often, but I think I'm Toberoni, Toberroni. It's so weird. It's my dog. Toberoni on Instagram. And for my band, if you follow me, it's Pocono Posse. We're on Facebook and Instagram. And we have links for the music. You can get downloads for the music for the movie. You can hear it there. And yeah, really much going on right now. I'm just taking a little bit of a break, and I'll get back into things pretty soon.
And you could reach me at John Piekos at on Facebook. Hey, listen, guys, when you're done watching the movie, I really would love to hear your comments, your critiques, whatever. Hit me up. Let's chat. I mean, we all did this because we love horror. So the only way we're going to get better is to get really good criticism on what you would like to see, and definitely subscribe so you can see what we're doing next and be a part of it.
Yeah, leave a constructive YouTube comment. Make this to be the first YouTube video that just has constructive comments under it.
There you go.
I currently, as of the time of this recording, I have the top rated comment on the YouTube video for the movie, where I commented that I literally only heard that this project existed at like 2 p.m. on Valentine's Day, the day that it was released, with it being released at 5 p.m. So I got to be like, oh, wow, I will watch this tomorrow because I'm spending Valentine's Day with my spouse.
I actually saw that comment. Yeah, you were one of the first to make one. Yeah,
I saw it too.
All right. Well, it's been great talking with you guys. I wish you continued luck with this film and with your future projects.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Appreciate the time.